Hey everybody, welcome back to Truck Talk and Time with Jesus. I know it's been just a short time. I mean, it hasn't been a whole lot of time, but sometimes you got to do a lot of thinking and praying and regrouping yourself to know exactly where you want to be at, and better yet, where does He want you? And through all this time in absentee, I've been doing a lot of thinking and a lot of praying on things and listening to a lot of people. And sometimes you just got to stand back and just listen. You got to be very careful, because what we just went through, you got to be very careful on how you approach people. There's a right way and a wrong way, because if I wasn't the person I am today, I probably would have walked away. I could have walked away from, got a divorce, went there and said, okay, God, here I am. But two things: either the person got tired, or it hit them at home. I personally believe it hit them at home, because whatever they were going through, instead of getting my email and emailing me and having a conversation, you did it the wrong way. Because I get it, you're trying to be the voice for, you're trying to be a voice and you're trying to warn people and that kind of things, but yet the proof doesn't add up. It doesn't add up, because like I said in the videos and stuff, you can weigh it and measure it however you want, but you got to understand something. If God can forgive me of everything that I could possibly do, but that's the one thing He won't forgive me of, besides blasphemy, where do we start putting what God will forgive and what He won't forget? And now we're changing the Bible. What does the end of Revelation speak? End of Revelation speaks, do not add or take away from this. That's why I got a problem with the Book of Mormons, because Book of Mormons bring the Bible and they bring their version of it and add to it. Plus the fact the stuff they believe, it's not even biblical. I mean, there is different, like Catholics and all that. There's different Catholics. I'm not even. This ain't even what this video is about. Sometimes you just start thinking about all this stuff and you just go, "Oh my gosh, what in the world?" But I am going to tell you something. This video is probably going to be very disturbing to some people, and some people probably are not going to like this video, and that's okay. That's okay, because it's time to really open your eyes, and it's time to really give you this awakening. Because if you claim to be a Christian, this might really jog you a little bit too, and go, well, wait a minute. It comes to a point where you have to wake up, and we're spiritually sleeping and allowing this nonsense to go on. The Lord told me a while ago, there's too much complaining. There's too much people complaining about everything that goes on. But yet they say they are a child of mine. They are my sheep. They know my voice. Well, if you do, then why are you into the location and the places where you're at? It's everybody's responsibility. To go out there, like I said in that video, if you guys sharing this and stuff and it's getting out to other people, liking the videos, the more people start to come on here and subscribe, and the more likes we get and the more shares. YouTube watches all this stuff. I never knew that. I used to come against people going, my gosh, will you stop asking people this? Then I understand why. But then I also understand, once they get to a certain point, that some people get paid off of this stuff. I'm not after that. That's the whole thing. I mean, I'm totally not. God provides what I need. Because if that was the case, I sure by now would have gave up on this channel and started something else. Now, I know some people might say, well, what about the puppet things you want to do? Does that have to do? No, it has to bring the younger generations into learning things too. because we're losing it. These churches are losing it. These pastors are losing it because they lost the number one love, and that's Jesus Christ. Through Jesus goes to God. Why? Because they're allowing the church to be opened up to Satan. They're allowing it because we don't want to be judgmental and all those things, but yet, what does the Bible say? Judge them by their fruits. We're not even supposed to allow nonsense stuff to enter into a church. These gay marriages and all this stuff that's taking place. It shouldn't be happening. I would rather lose my life than to walk in there as a pastor and allow that kind of nonsense to enter into God's place. You're responsible. What you set up there on that pulpit and what you put into example, what you're doing, you're allowing that congregation to do. And that's why a lot of these pastors are falling into sin more and more and falling into adulteries and gambling and alcohol and pornography, which is pretty much adultery. I mean, I don't care how you look at it. So, even if we bring all that up, how many people is actually going to heaven then? Because you can't repent from adultery unless you leave. If you got remarried, you got to leave and then ask God to forgive you. If that's the truth, then again, I'm not going to heaven. Now, what if I stopped being a Christian? What if I went back to my old ways? God help a lot of people. And I know I'm not bragging on myself, and I ain't boasting on myself, and I ain't doing nothing else on myself. Because I'm not proud of the things I did. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't sit here and put up with the nonsense that I put up with for the last years here. I mean, you just get to a point where you go, enough's enough. But then again, I understand what the devil's doing. I understand I should say devils. I understand what the devils are doing. I understand what Satan's doing, and I sure understand what Lucifer's doing. There's too many places in the Bible where it speaks, where Satan's talking, and you think about what Jesus said, "Get behind me, Satan." You think about even Peter. You know not what you're saying. Get behind me, Satan. You think about what Jesus did in the wilderness after he was baptized and filled with the Spirit of God. God had to pour His Spirit in there because He knew Jesus was going to go to the cross for us, and both of their spirits would be flowed into us later on. That's Pentecostal. It's why you ever notice the disciples when they got baptized, they didn't get the Spirit right away because the Spirit was here. He was walking with them. So they wouldn't need it. But even they questioned things. Even they doubted things. Look at Doubting Thomas. There had to be a reason why Doubting Thomas doubted. Why? What caused Thomas to doubt so much after seeing all the miracles that he's seen? You ever think about this stuff? I mean, I sit and really think about when I'm going through Scripture and trying to find something. That's the amazing thing about Jesus. When you're looking for something and you're reading something, then all of a sudden He leads you into another passage. He takes you into another passage and another passage and another passage. And before you know it, you have spent a conversation with Him and going back and forth, and you're just amazed by the stuff that He has spent. That's why they call the Bible the Living Bible, because it speaks to you. He speaks to you. It'll get to the point where He'll speak through you, through your mind and stuff, if you just let Him. If you sit there long enough. I would say meditate, but we all know where that goes. Go ahead, meditate on the Word. The Bible says you can meditate on it. Everything in the demonic realm is a copycat of what God has done. And you got to understand when you hear Satan talking and stuff in there, when he's saying things, you got to understand, listen to what he's saying, because he was there. He witnessed the stuff. When he tempted Eve into that forbidden fruit, he was there. Let's create something better. Well, what are they creating? Well, as you can see, I've been doing my homework here, because this is kind of what I'm looking at, just so I can touch all these subjects here, and a lot of this stuff, I mean, like, a lot of this stuff I've touched on before. So some of it depending on who's watching this video, depending on how far they've been following and how far they've been on this roller coaster ride, I should say, to remember a lot of this stuff. But it's on there. It's on the videos. And yes, I know you call it rambling, you call it whatever you'd like. Only thing I'm going to say is from here on out, if you don't like the way I talk, you don't like the way I pronounce words, you don't like my rambling on, you don't like me bringing family into stuff, why? Because I'm airing myself and I'm putting everything about me. It's kind of hard for anybody to come up with anything against me because it's on these videos. I never claimed to be perfect. But I made the best choices and the best decisions of them choices and used what I thought was going to be the best way to handle stuff all my life. So don't watch it. If it offends you, I can't offend you, so what's offending you? What I'm saying? Because there's got to be truth in it then for it to offend you. So anyways, let's just dig into this for a minute here. Let's start with the debate that just happened. You know, I've always said there's a price for everything. And again, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I will never tell you who to vote for. Personally, you know, you guys know how I feel about these shots and the pandemic and stuff we went through. Now they're blaming Trump because he left them with a headache. Well, let me ask you something. And if I could literally stand in the Capitol building and ask every single one of them this one question, if I could have one question, and they said only one, and you better make it good, this is what I would ask them. Can someone please explain to me? It's kind of a two-part question, but it's all still one question. Could someone please explain to me why I can walk outside to a restaurant door or a store? If I'm in a restaurant, long as when my food's there, I can take my mask off and eat. Okay, even like right now. You know, sometimes spit comes out of my mouth or something like that. So I'm thinking, okay, everybody's eating, so you're all vulnerable at this point. Because every time that door opens, a lot of people weren't wearing the mask all the way in. They were waiting until they got to the door, then they'd mask up. You know, I remember the people wearing their t-shirts, mask up, getting to a door, mask up. And I thought it was funny. I really did, because so many people did it. So now you got to think about this. So you're telling me everything in the air, and we're breathing a mask, and walking in a restaurant, now taking that off. We just touched it. We didn't wash our hands. I never seen anybody remove a mask and then go wash their hands, because then you had to put the mask back on. Or did you? Because I know when I was in restaurants and I took the mask off, I didn't put it back on. Not a one person said a word to me. 6 feet distance and all this stuff. So that's part A to the one question, but part B is, so you're telling me, since you isolated us and we were in lockdowns and all this stuff, so when did the COVID actually pick up? Because I know with the common flu and the common cold, it gets worse at night, supposedly. I believe it's just the devil wants to keep you awake and make you miserable. Truthfully, because when I got a flu, people, it's all day long. I don't. Sometimes I got trouble sleeping. Most of the time I don't. I'm telling you, I used to have a very short sleep span, and nothing. I mean, something made a creak sound and I was up. Today, somebody could drop a bomb probably next to the house, and I'd probably be like, I don't care. I'm going back to bed. Whatever the problem is, if they're going to blow this house up, I'm going to heaven, and oh well. Now, so we know everything gets worse at nighttime, obviously, because they start locking everything down and shutting the doors. It's, what was it, like 8 o'clock, something like that, for the majority of the places. Then we started this drive-up service. We started leaving stuff in boxes and bins, and you'd pay for stuff and come there and pick it up and then take it home. Delivery services was doing the same thing. You're right. But what does that bring in? That brings in exactly what the Lord showed me that I said was going to happen. Everything was going to be home delivery. Everything, when they take full control, when the calling up comes, and Jesus lifts out his people out of here, that's what's going to happen. They're already going to know how many people's in your household, how many people's left. That's a good thing about census, isn't it? All right, hold on a minute. Let me... Whew. Man, that air is like... My feet are like frozen. Big sissy baby, Tweety bird I am right now. Sissy-fied Tweety bird. Stop crying. Wah, wah, wah. But, so, think about it. But here's the thing. So we know there's a lot of deceitful things happen with the government. If you trust the government, people, you're on your own. I don't trust them. You know, did the election get robbed from us? Was it this? Is Trump the lie? I don't know. Honestly, and I really don't even have enough energy to even put into it anymore, because how in the world do we allow a fraudulent election to come and nothing gets done about it? How do we allow the Clintons to get away with all the stuff they got away with, Biden's son to get away with what he's got away with, the politicians? I mean, look, Barack Obama passed stuff without even getting permission. He just passed it himself. Isn't that supposed to go into the Capitol building and be voted on? And, I mean, how do you just pass stuff? I mean, you look at the extraction out of there and look at all the weapons. Look at all the military stuff we left there. That's unheard of. Now, Hamas, I almost called him Hamburger. Now, Hamburger's over there fighting hot dogs. No, the Palestinians. You look at all the stuff that's going on. You know, you look at what's happening here. But let's go a little bit further. But before we go further, let's go in reverse. Let's go back to when I was talking to you guys about at the end times, after the rapture, like shortly after, when the peace treaty starts, what are they going to do? They're going to start checking you for chips. They're going to start putting chips on you, or the identification barcode scans. Now, what did I say was going to happen? They would take you into buildings where a hallway. They would separate the families, put the wife and children on one side and the husband on the other side, and they will use your families against each other. Well, the people, this is already happening. They're showing us this. You look at what, I mean, just turn on the damn news. Listen to what they're doing over there. People are getting raped. Women are getting raped. Children are getting killed. The parents are watching their children die. Children are watching their parents die. Depends on their ages. You think about all this garbage that is going on. But wait a minute, hold on, because now we got to look at United States, this pathetic country that we've become, because we sat here as Christians and shut our mouths. We should be ashamed of ourselves. What are we telling God? Well, I want to come to heaven, but I'm not proud. But if anything, we should start looking at this. If thou is ashamed of me, I shall be ashamed of you in front of my Father. Because you don't want to speak his name, because you don't want people to go and oh my God, did you hear what she said? Oh, I'm not hanging around. I don't really give a crud what anybody thinks. And I don't mean this in a mean way. I'm just saying it's Jesus, it's God, Jesus, my wife. I would say children, but I don't have any. So now we got to go to this. It's easy to keep my order because God, Jesus, my wife. Nothing else falls under that. Then I can do my family. Well, now stop. Hold on a second, because what family? That family life doesn't even exist. So that eliminates that. Now I'm looking at God going, well, wow, because I keep asking him every day, prune off everything out of my life. Well, just recently, some family members were doing too much of this, and it circled back around. Plus, my youngest daughter and my second oldest sister that's still alive, she was forwarding conversations to me. Well, the people forwarded one too. Not once did my sister stick up for me. Not once. Only thing she said was, well, maybe he didn't recognize your car. And then what she said to me was, now she probably won't talk to me. Are you kidding me? I'm your brother. See where it's a vicious cycle, people. It's a vicious cycle. You know, you get people that through the marriage, you know, nephews and nieces, and all of them think, you know, it's not going to vicious cycle around. They attack each other. You know, how do you think I find out all this stuff? But then you look at some, because they think their size intimidates everybody, and they think they can bark a bark. Well, let me tell you right now, that doesn't necessarily mean because your size is bigger, but you don't know the fight that's in a dog. You just can't walk up to a porch. I mean, a little chihuahua could be barking and barking and barking. You might go, stupid little dog. And you take off your shoes and it bites you right in the back of the ankle. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name of that tendon back here, because I always butcher the living crap out of it. But what we know, if it's cut, you ain't moving. Can you imagine ankle biters that that we call them? But you look at it, it's all demonic. And that's why I've always said, if you walk into a room and you start talking about somebody, when you walk out of the room, they're going to talk about you. But yet, if you're a Christian, they're going to use your words because they're all the same. Did you hear what Nelson said? Oh my gosh. He said this and this and this and that. And he claims to be this and claims to be that, and done this through phones and text messages. It's all hearsay until you step up to the plate. But you see what's going on here? God is tired of our complaining. It's why I live the way I live. God, Jesus, Darlene. I don't have anything under that. Nothing falls under that. So I'm good. I got 3 people. That's it. So let me rock and roll and keep moving. You said rock and roll. My gosh. I told you this video wasn't going to be easy. Because I'm going to put everything about you to test. Because I'm about a little bit sick and tired of listening to people condemn people, and people come against people, and people say because you don't like a word. Well, let me go out there and get on my jackass and take a walk. Let me get on my donkey. People don't believe the very things that God's capable of doing, but yet we say we believe this word. We say we believe what's in this book, word for word. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're a true Christian and you truly read this book, you truly open it up and you read it daily, correct me if I'm wrong, if it does not say a donkey spoke. If you can believe that, then you should be able to open your thoughts and your minds to a bigger picture, because God will show you these things if you choose to search it. But I'm not talking about the people that I'm talking about, and it's funny because a lot of the judgmental stuff comes from people that read the Bible. Well, Lucifer knows the Bible. Satan knows the Bible. The devils know it because of who their teachers are. So, as you walk down this pathway and you're coming out there, Christians, how many of you had opportunities to speak things and never spoke it? So, where does that fall at? Into this line of going, God created you. You're here to speak of what's God's will, to speak about His Son, which leads to the Father. You speak about the Father, it leads to Jesus. There's no other way. There's no other timeline. There's no other way around it. You look at it, why was he called the Son of Man? Because he was born of man. Woman came from man. God took a rib from Adam, made Eve. Now, my question is, we can look at it going, I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not anything like that, but you can look at it and go, well, wait a minute, does that mean man has the rib cage is shorter on one side than a woman? Or, because he took out a piece of the rib to make Eve, or did he make woman's rib cage short on one side and longer on another? Who knows? I don't really care, but I'm just saying, I'm just bringing it up to you because this is where we could start going through thoughts going, but still, the point is, woman came from man because man was here first. The Bible says this is how it happened, and this is where Satan comes into the picture because Satan stood there and watched everything for him. Lucifer stood there and watched everything for him. See, because Lucifer was under Jesus, and Satan was lollygagging around somewhere in there too. I believe Satan was a fallen angel myself, because the things that Satan's capable of doing, the things that Satan knows very well, and the way that he does it. But look what happens here now. We find it hard to believe in possessions. We find it hard to believe that these things manifest. We find it hard to believe in these skin ranches, in these watchers, in oh my gosh, can't think of the name of it now. Yeah, I think it was skinwalkers. I think that's what I was thinking of. But you think about all these attachments, and you think about all the stuff that's happening right now. People, it's happening. We go back into all the movies, all the things I've been talking about for years and years and years. When I started seeing things happen that was happening in movies, I started paying real close attention. That's another reason why I watched movies over and over and over. Other than that, besides that, I had no life because I was miserable, because I lived a miserable life. I was always happy when I was by myself. I would entertain with people. I'd hang out with my so-called friends, but I was more happier by myself. Because you couldn't get hurt by anybody. I mean, I literally walked in places and I've heard people literally talking about me. And, never finished going in. And if certain buildings I worked in, you could hear people talking. Depending on where I was and what I was doing, I could hear what people were saying about me. And these were supposed to be my so-called friends and so-called family. It's sad. But I've been called a liar. I've been called everything under the sun. But say what you will. Because you don't do it to me, you do it to God, and you do it to Jesus. And then me. So have a nice day with that one. So, let's push on into this. So now we're looking at this debate. What did she keep saying over and over and over? Child tax credit, this 55,000, whatever it was, small businesses thing. They had that before when I just started reopening the business, and once I started researching all this stuff, people, I'm telling you right now, you got to make a certain amount of money. You got to prove that you're going out there trying to draw up business, and you're putting out the efforts, and you're doing this. Well, let me tell you what, I bought flyers, I put signs on my cars. I started hitting up the old areas and stuff where I used to do a lot of work at. And let me tell you what, you can only do so much. I put ads in the paper. I mean, got business cards. I was handing stuff out, putting stuff in on people's inside of restaurants, on tables if they let me do it, on the counters and stuff. People, I did everything I could possibly think of. You know, I worked very hard. Very hard. And it was very hard to walk away from it. Because, you know, I trust God. I trust God over everything. Every single thing. And I know no matter what, the bills would have been paid. I don't care if $1 comes in. I don't care if it's $500,000 a month comes in. He would have made sure those bills were paid. Why? Because I have that faith today. And it honestly was. It was extremely hard to just shut everything down again. I just felt like a complete failure. Like I failed again. But where I messed up is I didn't ask God. I just did it. And I don't know. There were so many signs that was leading to it, and things were falling into place. I don't know, people. I honestly, I really don't know. But God gets glory out of everything we do, whether it's good or bad. So you got to understand, you can't jump the things too fastly. But look at what they're doing. If you believe all this nonsense, where do you think this money's coming from? People, we are already so far in debt now. This new tax credit, if she gets in there, is going to sink us even more. Because let me tell you what, if you don't have any kids, you're going to pay on this. Look, they're already raising property tax crap and all that, whatever. I don't know what it is, but my gosh, it's like our mortgage payment just keeps going up and up and up and up. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh. You know, it's like renting, you know, I thought renting an apartment was bad. But it's starting to be the same thing with our home. It's like, oh my gosh. I mean, the only difference is we're going to own the house, but we'll never own the property because you got to pay property taxes the rest of your life. I mean, does this make any sense? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Who started this nonsense? So, in a way, does it not sound like they're buying votes to you? Because that's exactly what it sounds like to me. That's exactly how I felt, because she just kept going. Or she'd sit there and do this stuff and shake her head. How rehearsed was this nonsense? Did anybody watch that? Go on there and live stream it on YouTube and literally watch some of this. It was so dang on rehearsed. I don't care what anybody says. I honestly, the whole thing's a joke. I mean, she sat there and said, she was in an interview, and the guy kept saying, well, you know, you're in charge of this border, la 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 la. And you have not been there. And her exact words were, look us up and you'll find it on YouTube too. Well, we've been to the border. We have done things with the border. And she goes on and on and on. But he says, yeah, but you haven't been there. She goes, well, I haven't been to Europe either. So what are you getting at? Or what are you proving? Or something? I forget exactly how she said it. And I'm sitting there going, you haven't been to Europe either. But all the way through the debate, she just kept repeating things. And they said that she was baiting Trump, and Trump fell through the bait. She didn't do anything on her own, because if you look at her right ear, and you look at the little black thing behind there, people, it's a dang on microphone. You couldn't really see her other side, but I'm telling you right now, she was being fed through a microphone, and I don't care what anybody says. There is no way you're going to go from a laughing stock of whatever mumbling repeat of yourself nursery rhymes to that. No. And you look at the person that she called in for the vice president. Horrible. Do the research. Look up all the stuff this man has stand for. You know, you look at abortions. You look at all this, they're going back and forth with that. I don't care, people. Everybody knows my thought on abortions. I think if you have an abortion, And again, I said the only thing that I would question the mother's health. Then, if I was in that situation, I would be a praying man until God gave me an answer. You know, God. The one thing about the Catholics that I agree with is they don't do abortions. See, God didn't expect us to use birth control. God didn't expect us to alter things of our bodies to not be able to have kids. See, I did that. I didn't know that was wrong, but I did it. That's why when I find out in my past relationships and someone says they're pregnant, I'm just like, okay, good for you. Well, you better go find a husband, because your boyfriend or the father of the baby, whatever, because I know it ain't me. It's kind of hard to pinpoint and do something when it's impossible. Now, I know some people say, well, there's no. I've been tested so many times, people, it's unreal. I guess you can reverse it. I don't. There's no need in it. Don't really care. Because that's not my plan. God doesn't have it anymore. So, why is this abortion being pushed? I don't know about anybody else, but I'm standing outside looking in the window going, it's right there in front of you. Can people not see this? Why are they so on this abortion? Why is Hamas killing babies? Why is people leaving their children in the apartments and houses? One lady just did it for 10 days while she's taking pictures of herself at a beach. We just watched a show where the boyfriend and girlfriend were so upset, whatever, went to the store, left their child inside of a house, the apartment, whatever it was. Parents are killing their child. I mean, people, you know, and like I said, you know, I'm probably going to upset some people on this, and it's okay. But please explain to me, what is the difference between what they're doing and what somebody else is doing, taking that child's life? It's got a heartbeat, and it's beating on its own. What is the difference between aborting that child or leaving that child in the house, or leaving your child in the car, or watching Hamas cut their heads off, or dismantle them, or mutilate them? Can you imagine a parent sitting there watching that? Well, get used to it, because you're going to see it in the end times. Because they're going to force you to take the chip. Once you take the chips, they're going to knock you the heck out of there anyways. So it doesn't really matter. But can you imagine can you imagine if you're the father and you're seeing your wife and your children right across from you, and they're raping your children and they're raping your wife, and then they're cutting their heads off or cutting their fingers off and doing all this stuff right in front of you, because them demons don't care. That is not a normal person you're dealing with. That is a demon, manifest, disgusting creature from hell. Look at the Skinwalkers. And they actually made a show about this. I don't know. I never watched it. Don't care to watch it, because I look around and I see enough. You know what's amazing to me? Because there's times that I look at people's faces and I got to drop my head, or I got to look the other way. And there's times when I could bump into somebody and know exactly what they just went through. And I found out, and that's what I said on that one video, I found out that I was talking to, it would be my niece's daughter, so I'm not really for sure. My great niece, maybe? I don't know. I don't know exactly what she would be. But somehow it's family, down through however that goes. And she was saying something, and I'm telling you, I had a vision of what she was doing in her bedroom. I had a vision of her with this cloak on, but even the hood, I described it to my sister and my brother-in-law. I described it to them, and clearly, at first my sister wasn't saying much, but he sure did. Wait a minute, she does have that. And all I did is drop it down, and I happened to look at her t-shirt. Well, do you know, here's the crazy thing is, because people, I do this, I don't care if it's a man. I will look down, or I'll look off to the side, or whatever. Because I looked down, I was accused of looking at her chest area. Unbelievable, isn't it? In reality, I wanted to go, you better knock your crap off, what you're doing. And then I seen these books. Her reading books. And I'm sitting there thinking in my head, I wish I could have zoomed in a little bit closer, but, and what we were talking about is college, because she said none of the family likes her, nobody wants to interact with her, so I'm doing the best, and I'm trying to pick out things that she would talk about, because, and honestly, what she wanted to go to college for, I had no clue. I've never even heard of such thing. So I was curious. And so we're talking about that and going through there, and I was trying to explain to her, if you're going to live on campus, you got to be very careful, because people will take advantage of you. And telling her, you know, most guys in college, all they're after is sex and these kind of things like that. Just trying to carry on a conversation, for crying out loud, and it goes into a full extreme of nonsense. Well, let me tell you something. That's why I said about family. The last time I was over there, we dropped off my sister's gift to her, and I couldn't wait to get out of the house. I never felt so unwelcomed and so uneased in my whole entire freaking life. I mean, seriously. I felt like I was a delivery guy that overstepped and stayed too long. And then I find out later on why. But this is the stuff that's coming, people. All these things are going to be turned against each other. Remember when I said you're going to be eating your own kind? Look, Donald Trump just said it up in Michigan. I think it's Michigan. The animals are Louisiana, Kentucky, I don't know. Who gives a crap? I mean, they're eating animals, for crying out loud. Supposedly, I mean, my dad told me over there, when they were over there in Vietnam and stuff, he watched them cut rats and stuff up and make food out of it. I don't know if it's true or not. Don't know. We don't even know what we're eating half the time. Processed meat, plant-based garbage. You don't even know what the heck you're eating. It's almost like you want to have a farm of your own and just kill your own meat. I don't. This can only get worse. It's not going to get better. The Lord told me it wasn't going to get better. You know, people's talking about the grid going down. Here's the thing, people. Everybody's going out, getting generators and solar panels and all this kind of stuff like that. Well, if it's controlled by a grid, and are your generators controlled by gasoline or diesel or electric or natural gas, if it goes down, how are you going to use your generator? Eventually, it's going to run out too. Your satellites, well, if the government's still in control and you still got to pay a fee to your electric company because it feeds into the house and they're able to take out, well, if they're able to buy out your stored up electric, what makes you think they're not going to be able to drain your excess and your sitting duck? You're going to stop the electric companies? You ever see all these outside sources and all this outside charges that you're paying? You can't even make you can't even understand what you're paying on half these bills. You just start writing a check or just automatically pay it online. But how many of you sit there and complain and grumble about it? Or how many people actually pray and thank Jesus for giving them the money to be able to pay this? And some of you might say, well, Nelson, no, I got to work every day. Well, by the grace of God, you go to work every day. See, the big co made everybody lazy. And we're going to fall right back into it. But this time when it comes, it's going to come with a vengeance. They're taking over and killing children. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad somebody finally asked me why, so we can get done with this abortion crap. And that's exactly what it is, crap. So there's no more population, people. There's no more population. Mankind would no longer exist. Blows your mind, don't it? You know, now you look at the NTI. NTI is it started the first time. It actually was January. You don't believe me? Look it up yourself. Elon Musk. Here we go with Elon Musk again. A lot of people like Elon Musk. Look at all he's doing. Yeah, people, he's creating things that we're no longer. It's thinning out the herd, and you're making new people. You're making things that don't have to sleep. It's robotic things are taking over their jobs. I mean, we're trying to make cars now back in themselves. I mean, cars will move their wheels like this and parallel park sideways into places. I mean, you know, how many people you think back with Michael Knight, the kit car, how far-fetched that was? Well, we're not too far from that. It drives. I mean, they're already testing this stuff. Don't think they're not. But when you're implanting this chip, it's supposed to be able to start controlling the brain to where the limbs will move. And there's been a case where the guy actually have moved, you know, to that telekinesis, I think that's how you pronounce it, moved a mouse from a keyboard. Hello? Go back to what I talked about AI. Go back to what I talked about your smart TVs. Walking in there and people, you know, turn on Syria, turn on the kitchen lights for me. Turn on the temperature control. Your door ring cameras and stuff. And you're pulling it up on your phones. You know, all it's doing is watching you because it's through cameras. Well, if the people installed these things, how do you think that you think maybe they can't override these cameras or put a clause thing in these door rings or the cameras and stuff that's inside your house? These video surveillances and all this stuff. You think maybe they couldn't put an override thing to where they could turn those things on? I mean, you look at the smallest cameras today. People are planting these things in gyms, inside of women's locker rooms, inside of dressing rooms. I mean, people inside of hotels. I mean, it's to the freaking point now, man. I mean, it doesn't matter. where you been, somebody's probably done watched you undress. Somebody's probably done watched you do your things in a bedroom. Who the heck knows? Your phone. Look how many cameras they're putting on these phones now. You think that's a coincidence? Because no matter which way you throw your phone, there's a camera. There's a camera in the front. There's multi-cameras on the back. We're making these cameras. We're taking things. You can take videos and stop it and screenshot things out of there and pull pictures where you can make pictures and stuff off of it. What in the world do you think they're doing? Smartness interacts to that. You look at all the virtual reality things that we put them things on, and we would play and do games and virtual thing. Anybody ever see the movie Tron? What about the Lawnmower Man? Oh, Nelson, that was a really good movie. And no. Look at what happened to the Lawnmower Man. Become super genius. What do you think's happening right now, people? You know, our food source, you go back, you look at Mark Zuckerman when he was in court and he was licking out of the cup. You look at what he was doing in lizard-like activities, but then you sit there and you think about this Visitors show back in the day. You used to call it the Visitors. They were lizards, but they had that latex skin on there they could just pull off there. But they came to Earth because they were hungry. And guess who they were eating? People. Well, guess what? These AIs, guess what they're doing? They're building these things. It's coming more and more and more now that these AI robots are very hard to determine. You know, the problem is prayer is gone. Devotion to God, true devotion to God is almost nearly not enough. Some people say, well, I pray all the time. Really? That's good. But the majority of people don't. We're losing this battle. And we're going to lose the war if we're not careful. Now, here's the thing. You have some of these people that have very successful channels, very successful other channels and stuff they do, but they're focused on their agenda instead of God's. You know, and I've been on a couple. I was actually supposed to do another podcast type thing through another channel, and it never happened. Kind of like the deal with Randy Kay and all that stuff. I actually got an email. Somebody asked me, "Are you going back on Randy Kay?" And at this point, I said no, because I was told last year, because of the new job and mixing it up and apologizing 1,000 times. But at this point, why bother? Unless Jesus says, do it. And a lot of people are being kind of disappointed by Randy Kay right now because of all the people and stuff on there. I mean, I sent a message over there saying, this guy you got on there, get him off there. Get that video off your site. Never heard back from him. And then it turned out to be a girl contacted me and said, Nelson, you're absolutely right. His wife was just on another one saying he is far from godly as you're going to get. And he's the one that was on there saying, he was talking about he was leaving out of there and somebody in this car was following him, and then it followed him back to his house, and he was in a gang and all this kind of stuff, and the guy shot him and all this. And I called BS when I first started listening to this. I called BS because of a few things that he said that I know, no, not even possible. The second thing is how he changed his story about where he was coming from and all this kind of stuff like this. First of all, you're with a gang and you're leaving a gang and all this kind of stuff, and all of a sudden you walk out and the only person you're with is the person that's supposed to be part of the gang or whatever. My memory is a little off on that whole situation, but there were so many things wrong with that story that I knew. Then I watched him on another one. But then the funny thing is I watched him change more and more and more, how he was dressing and all the things that he was saying. And I'm going, this guy's after something, but it sure ain't God. Just like the other one he had on there, I actually seen that guy on another one. And basically, I had a guy that had him on a podcast and refused to put the video on there because when he was watching something that I said on one of the videos, and all I said was, first of all, I don't even know what per se even means. Sometimes words come to me and I just say it to fill in the blanks because my mind is trying to get the right word, and I'll just speak something. Now, I'm not saying I made up that word. I'm not saying that at all because other people have said it. I've never really heard it until I really spoke it. But it's the things that guy was saying. And the fakeness. Every time he was like, Brother Randy, brother this, and per se. And then when Randy asked him a question, and the way he said it, like, we made a pizza. Now, I'm not saying Jesus and him didn't make a pizza. It's the way that he's paused through it. If I ask you what you had for dinner last night, 90% of the people are going to remember what they had for dinner last night. I know what I had for dinner last night. I had chili. I know what I had for the dinner the night before. I had chili. I know what I had dinner from Friday night. I had chili. Saturday night, chili. Sunday night, chili. Today's Monday. I got a salad. Right here. I'll show you my salad. I'm trying to eat healthy. My wife says I need to eat healthy. See? I haven't ate it yet. Probably not going to. Kind of hungry, but not really hungry. Those look good, though. Pop the side of it. I could tear up more stuff. I'm like, how in the world did I even mess that up? I don't know. Most likely, I'd probably go home and Darlene will eat it. That's what I was going off on from the beginning. The puppets did come in. I really am excited. I'm excited for these reasons. I've always enjoyed playing with kids. And I've always enjoyed the interaction with kids. And, even my kids, watching them grow up and stuff, playing with them and playing video games. And I still remember when I was told I wasn't allowed to take a bath with my son anymore when he was real little. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, give me a break. It blows my mind. It really blows my mind, the nonsense that goes on. But you think about, I enjoy kids. I always have. The older I got, I wanted to go into being a counselor for teenagers. And when I started going through it, I was doing pretty good. And finally they asked me, do you have a GED? And I said, no. And they were like, well, how did you get past this step to be able to... I said, nobody ever asked me. And she said, well, you can't do it. You got to go get a GED first. And I'm like, it's never going to happen. It's a freaking piece of paper. And Well, I did go get an online one. I actually went to a GED school, and same thing with the military. I passed everything but the math by 3 questions. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Twice through the military. Is why I say today, today they probably wouldn't take me unless they absolutely had to, but they wouldn't take me to war. They wouldn't take me anywhere but straight to a prison cell, because I'm telling you right now, I'll be damned if I'm going to go serve for this rotten country when I wanted to go at a young boy at the age of 18. I wanted to go and just live in the military. I didn't want to leave the military. I wanted to stay there until they literally kicked me out. Can you imagine? As jacked up as I was back then, I would be like this living Rambo. Give me the gun. I'll go. Demons fighting a demon. Who would have thought, huh? But let's dig in a little bit more. You got the woke. You got this transgender nonsense. You don't want to call them guys. They're identifiers. Now they're not even signing birth certificates. They're not putting a name on the birth certificate. They ain't doing this. What in the hell are we doing? What are we doing sitting here thinking this is okay? Even if God tarries, your children starts growing up and they start having children. My God, people, they're already identifying as animals and going into bathrooms and going to litter boxes, licking themselves, going to litter boxes in classrooms, rubbing up and down people's legs and purring like a cat, and people were petting on them, dressed like a cat. Remember back when I said when all this transgender crap started going on and they started doing these bathrooms, and I kept talking about people was going to go in there and these girls are going to start getting raped? My gosh, look what's happening. Look what's happening, people. And we're turning an eye to this. I mean, I'm all about helping foreign countries, and I'm all about getting water to people, and I'm all about getting food to people, but by God, what are we doing here? We're allowing nonsense. Our children over here are being raped. Our children over here are being sold off. Our children over here are being starved. Children over here living on the streets. Kids are being left in there. They're eating their own feces. I mean, come on. They can't even go to the bathroom without some pervert coming in there and raping them. And the teacher's walking out because they don't want to be involved. You should be fired. All of you should be fired for allowing this transgender crap, taking down the American flags, and you're putting gay pride flags up, taking God out of everything. What do you think's going to happen? You take God out of it, that's what happens. You put your faith in man. Donald Trump can't save us. God can. God can. Donald Trump's just a man. If he doesn't get the House and he don't get the people in there that's going to give him that power, well, you got more Republicans than Democrats. Right now, it's well, let's continue on with this nonsense, with this kitty cat stuff and all this nonsense. People identifying as this and their pronouns and all this, but yet they're coming against us because we don't want to sit here and put up with this nonsense. Don't shove your garbage on me. I don't go around speaking to you about Christ, but I do speak it. I have no problems going up to these gay rallies and doing that because of all the nonsense that's going on there, having parades and having sex on top of parades and all around the place, going into these sick, twisted things, and you want your rights? What rights do you think you had? Show me in the Bible where this rights is. And I don't want to see man versus man and woman, because the Bible I look at, and the Bible of the living God that I serve, is saying that that's an abomination. So if I'm going to hell, I'll see you there. Because if you think you're going there and you can't blame anybody else, some people put the blame on me. Well, I'm going to hell anyways because of this person. I drink alcohol because of this person. You can't blame me. You can't blame me. You got nobody to blame but yourselves. You cannot blame anybody else because nobody else can make you do anything but yourself. You live in a crazy lifestyle is why you do what you do. And alcohol is the first thing they always turn to. And let me tell you right now, as many times as people lie, you already know what you're dealing with. When you walk into a demonic house, you better expect every time their mouth is open and there's a lie in there somewhere. And then you get the husband of the deal and what they come out and how they act, and they think they intimidate people. Let me tell you right now, people, it's whacked. These are demons. Well, how far do we go with this, Nelson? I mean, what do you do if you got a child in there? You know, it's nothing wrong with praying for them. There's nothing wrong with loving them. There's nothing wrong with talking to them. But I tell you what, there comes a problem when you start accepting it. Because you don't want to speak of Jesus Christ. Any door God opens, no man or beast can shut it. Not Lucifer, not Satan, not anybody else. I don't care who talks to me, and I don't care who likes me. I don't care. Your video about the truck driving, what a crock. You really had no information. You're rambling on again. I don't really care. Don't watch the videos. I don't really care for that video anyways. I was kind of in a ticky mood that night when I made that one, and I probably should have went a little bit deeper into stuff. But if you notice, like I said all the way through, do your homework. The same as I tell you in these, do your homework. Start looking at the stuff I'm telling you, people. It's right in front of your face. It's been right in front of your face. Prices of everything's going up. Do you think now all of a sudden now the prices start coming down? Why? Because we're getting ready to hit October. They're getting ready to probably throw another stimulus at you. And look what Trump said. He made a good damn point. All these foolish kids that went out there and started maxing out their credit cards and all this stuff because they were supposed to get this college bailout. But now what happened is the people that were in college saying, "No, hold on a minute. If you're going to bail them out, then you're going to bail us out, and you're going to repay me all the money I just paid into this college because you're bailing them out. Fair is fair." Well, let me tell you right now. I mean, what is fair? All I can tell you is that federal keeps going up, Social Security keeps going up, all these things keep going up. You're using the kettle for your own personal piggy bank. I can't go to the bank and put my ATM card in there and try to withdraw from the ATM machine if I don't have no money in there. Who votes on this stuff? If we vote on the governors in the Senate, and we vote on the mayors and the street cleaners and the trash men, and we vote on what day that all this is happening on, we vote on all this nonsense stuff, and we vote on everything else, shouldn't we have the rights to vote for what we spend taxpayers' money on? You know, you think about this. Give to God what is God. Give to Caesar what is Caesar, and give to God what is God's. You know, you really put some thought into that. You know, we got to pay our taxes. We got to give to Caesar what is Caesar's. This world is Caesar's. He can have it. You know, I'm the type of person that just doesn't shut up. I'm the type of person that will go on and on and on. I used to punish my kids by making them sit at the table, and I would just talk to them and talk to them and talk to them. It's the same that I do on these videos. Can you imagine a couple hours of that? Darlene first asked me when we got together, she goes, you know, they're not even listening to you, but you're right. They're going to interrupt my day, and they're going to make me have to punish them. They're going to sit there. That was their punishment. They didn't even realize it. It wasn't the fact that I don't care if they were listening. That's the thing. Nobody got that. Nobody. Even as intelligent, very intelligent Darlene is, but she didn't even pick that up. You're going to waste my Saturday, I'm going to waste your Saturday. They weren't on their phones. They weren't talking to nobody. They weren't going anywhere. They weren't playing video games. They weren't doing nothing but sitting at that table and getting more and more stewed up at me. I got all day. You can sit there all day. You can sit there and eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and still sit there until it's time for you to go to bed, and then you go to bed. But I tell you what, all cell phones, all TVs, everything coming off. I chucked the TV out a window before. I don't care. Don't tell me what I can or can't do. I was a parent before I was a friend. Today, I'm nothing. I'm a nothing to this world, and I will leave this world a nothing. But I tell you what, if my visions are true, and I'm going to New York, and I'm gathering people along the way into Eden, I'm going to be the most popular nothing. Because I have my faith and belief that I will have food, I will have water. I hate water. I don't want water. Hopefully he gives me some lemonade or some Dr. Pepper here and there. Well, Diet Dr. Pepper. Oh, Nelson, you shouldn't drink so much soda because of sodium and stuff. But just let me die. I'm tired of diets. I'm tired of living this world. And no, I'm not suicidal. No, I'm not depressed. I'm just speaking openly with you people. It's the stuff that I battle sometimes. And I don't care what you want to call it. You can call it whatever you want. I'm not depressed. I know what depression is. I lived it. I know what oppressed is, and I know what depression is. I know what it is, people. You're preaching to the choir. If I was depressed, I'd tell you. First of all, I don't get depressed. I would get sad. Sad leads to depression. Just like the devil's grass, the devil's weed, whatever you want to call it. It's the gateway is what it is. And they argue the fact. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. You look at all the crap that's going on out here right now with Diddy and all them having sex, raping people, doing all this stuff. And everybody thinks this is the best thing in the world. They all should be taken out back and castrated. You want to stop rape? Start cutting their parts off. Can you imagine if I was a president or if I was a mayor and I had total control over a state and somebody was raping in the state? I would cut their crap right off. They would sit down the pee the rest of their life. And if I found out they had any kind of sex toys or anything like that, they would not like me. Prisoners, you'd be on the streets. You'd be on the streets. You'd be walking the streets. You'd be picking up trash. You'd be cleaning police officers' cars. You would be scrubbing the gang writing off the walls. You would be busy, busy, busy. You remember in Frosty the Snowman when he says, I need to get busy, busy, busy? Because Santa wanted 500 million zillion times whatever he wanted. For some reason, I can't remember that, but think about it. If I was a pastor of a church, you wouldn't walk in with your nonsense. I would hold God's way and God's way only. My teaching would be totally different. People might actually walk out of there feeling like, hey, we got hope. Because I believe in the stuff I tell you. I believe in the very things that I've been speaking all these years, and I believe that it is, whether or not people believe me or not. You look at this implant, Elon Musk robotic crap, Neuralink's telepathy implant. There you go. I would like to see the implant chip before they put it in somebody's head. And how are they putting it in there? Are they attaching it to the brain? Are they just injecting it in there? I would like to see the numbers on that chip. We're already starting to see the signs of the mark of the beast. Now, I'm not saying Elon Musk is part of it, but I don't trust Elon Musk at all. I don't trust Mark Zuckerman, the presidents, the government. I don't trust any of it. I remember the first time I started telling people about 9/11, my God, I had a guy who was going to punch me in the face. He told me if I didn't shut up, he was going to beat my you-know-what. I was like, look at the videos. I'm just saying. We here in the United States, we the people of the United States made 9/11. No other country but United States. Why? Because we had to go back over to Desert Storm and find weapons of mass destruction because Daddy Bush never finished what he wanted to do. Take it. Believe what you want, people. Believe what you want. That's all I'm saying. Now, I haven't got a chance to go look at the comments on the truck driving one. I think there's like 6 or 8 comments on there. I don't know. I just happened to look at the daily reviews and stuff like that. With the weekly the weekly cap that they send and put on there. Interesting. I haven't got one this week. I'm surprised. Well, last week I should say. I'm actually surprised. Usually every week I get one. It's just interesting because it actually shows what countries, like Canada was boosted up there for a while and then it just died off. Australia, it was on there. Australia's not even on the map anymore. China was just on there. I don't know. I don't know about last week or this week coming because we just started this week. So, but I found it interesting. You know, Europe. There's a few other countries that it's starting to peak up, and it's actually the men rode the high wave for the longest time, but now the women's starting to come up in there, and the younger generations are starting to fall off, but it's like the older generation starting to kick onto this, and it's there's no reason behind I'm telling you all this. I'm just saying, if you ever wanted to know, I mean, I like sharing the whole channel with you because it's, you know, like I said, it's all of ours. It takes you to do what you're doing on your end and what I'm doing on my end, and I don't know. But I think that's all I'm going to... Because, well, I was going to talk about, too, how the machines and everything, the virtual stuff and how all that stuff interacts with each other. But, like I said, you can go back on the other videos and watch it. I mean, I got plenty of videos where I speak about all this. You know, just be careful, people. You know, there's truth in these movies. There's truth in the stuff that's right here in front of our face. They're speaking the stuff right in front of our faces. And if you think Kamala is going to do any of that garbage that she's saying that she's going to do, you got another thing coming. I'm just saying. She's got 3.5 years and she hasn't done anything. Anything. She had done nothing with the border. We got all these people over here. People are being raped over here and killed over here. We got more illegal drugs over here. People are overdosing. And you want to believe that she's going to do what she says she's going to do. Well, good luck there. That's all I got to say. So, I'm going to end the video here. And I go home tomorrow. I was going to stay a little bit longer, but I got to fix the wife's brakes. And I'll probably do a test run on the puppets. I'm excited, honestly. I don't know. It might not ever go anywhere, but I don't care. Just like these videos. Somebody asked me, do you think doing all these videos is a waste of time? Well, no, because some of the people's comments saying that they're getting stuff out of it, it's helping them. If it helps one person, I accomplished something. At least I accomplished something for Jesus. I watched this video about, I forget exactly how it goes, but it basically, all my life I felt like an outcast. I felt alone, but I was happier by myself, and I never could figure it out. And it would make me sad because I never felt like I was welcomed anywhere. Just like I was just speaking about my oldest sister's house. They would go out, all three of my other sisters, well, one of them is no longer here, but, I would find out later on, my sister that's not here, she would tell me, oh, hey, we all got together, went out to dinner and stuff. I said, well, how come nobody asked me? And they used to say, well, because of this and this. No, that's bullcrap. You still could have asked me. I mean, I'm a grown dang man. I mean, what the heck? Vacations and all this stuff, and then I would see pictures and hear all about it. Nobody would ask me. So I was always wondering why I felt the way I felt. And then I watched this video. And it explained. And so I'm actually at peace with a lot of things in my life now. Things I didn't understand, but I do today. And people, I'm telling you, watch what your kids are doing. Spouses, watch what each other's doing. Hold each other accountable. Men, start getting that household back. I can't tell this enough. I can't tell you to repent enough, to examine yourselves. By God, start throwing stuff in, burning that crap, breaking that crap. If you got demonic movies in your house, break them son of a guns and burn them. I don't care what you got to do to them, but get them out of there. But don't let it to where somebody else gets it. Music. Don't be one of these people who go, well, I read and I do this and this and that, and then I'm going to come into a godly institute and start singing Red Solo Cup, Lift Me Up, Let's Prepare to Party. And you claim to be a Christian. I don't know, after what I just told you, would you say that person is a Christian? I didn't see anywhere where Jesus was lifting up a Red Solo Cup at the wedding feast and saying, okay, let's party. You might say, well, Nelson, you're going a little far. No, I'm not. Because when we start making excuses and exemptions for people, you might as well go have a steak dinner with Lucifer or Satan himself. Just saying. Prayer, people. Prayer will change. If not, good luck. Hopefully you make it into heaven. And when I do this heaven video, I'm just going to give you exactly how I look at it and how I discovered and what I went through to get to where I'm at. World that says. But anyways, examination, repentance, take back your household, because Satan's breaking these households. Look what just happened. Satan coming knocking at the door saying you need to get a divorce because he wanted to break up a union. But I do appreciate and I do thank you guys for coming on there and posting things. I kind of look at it as, I might be wrong, but I kind of look at it as you guys were sticking up for me and defending me, and that's kind of how I looked at it, and it felt nice. I mean, it really felt good to have somebody stick up for me, and that wasn't afraid to go on there and tell this person, you're wrong, and they are wrong, because the only unforgivable sin is blasphemy, and that's rejection of Christ, or rejection of the Father. And anybody that doesn't follow Christ and doing the way it is, and that'll all come out in the heaven. I mean, the pathway to heaven. That's exactly what I'm calling it, pathway to heaven. How do I get there? You'll see. So God bless you. Thank you for getting back on this roller coaster, and let's get going. We ain't got time to rest. So we can kayak and swim and jump off the cliffs later. Right now, we got to get moving. Love ya. Till the next one.